Hi, I'm Chris Kinane, Research Director for Supply Chain Management at ARC Advisory Group. Joining me today is Nil Durak, Chief Operating Officer at Solvoyo. Nil, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Chris.
For those that might not be familiar with Solvoyo, could you tell us a little bit about the company and what you do?
Sure. So from outside, Solvoyo is a cloud-native supply chain analytics and planning company. And from inside, we're a bunch of mavericks. In fact, we were set up as a rebellion against traditional supply chain tools that actually had a very siloed view of the supply chain. And our philosophy is that the recommendations coming out of our engine would be of such high quality that they would be executed without any touch. So this whole notion of autonomous supply chains that we stand for, and in fact, our founder set up Solvoyo in Boston only a few years after Tesla was set up in California. So basically, if vehicles can go autonomous, so can supply chains. And we have actually seen the importance of automated decision-making during COVID. And we also recognize that it's a journey. So we like to think of ourselves as partners to take our clients from digital to intelligent to ultimately autonomous.
Well, speaking of the COVID pandemic, the supply chain planning market has really performed well in the midst of the global pandemic. Why do you think that is?
Right. Well, it was about time supply chain got sexy, so that's really pleasant news for us. And the reason why planning got extremely popular is because it has a lot to do with decision making. And in the midst of all this disruption, what really mattered was all these internal and external sources of signals were processed right and converted into smart decisions. And if I were to give examples from the CPG world, processing POS data to adjust production capacities before orders came in became big. Or for retail companies, understanding fast-selling SKUs and automatically adjusting safety stocks so that there's no stockouts also became extremely critical. In fact, you'll see today a retail client of ours actually speak to that particular example. And this whole notion of decision making at the speed of business was basically reinforced during COVID.
Are there any other big trends that you're seeing in the market?
I would put them in a few buckets. And again, I would start with data quality, and also access. So getting master data right became a very important theme, and detecting anomalies in data and correcting them on a continuous fashion became big. And also accessing different types of data. Weather data, competitor data, click-through data, coming from all these external resources, and also incorporating vendors and as well as customers into the planning realm from a data perspective became important. And the second bit I would say is associations in data. If there was a disruption, say in a raw material, understanding what that particular raw material impacted in the supply chain from a product orders capacity perspective, and taking mitigation actions also took an important role. And I would also say smart analytics also became critical. Understanding your stockouts before they happen, excess stock, taking actions related to your slow moving items. Again, it was an important facility that a lot of companies were benefiting from. And ultimately end-to-end decision making, because supply chain is basically one connected unity, and aligning those decisions across the end-to-end realm also, I would say, is a trend.
I've heard a lot of talk about digital twins. Is a digital twin just a model of the supply chain, or is there more to it?
Yes, so digital twin, as the name suggests, is a twin of the supply chain. But the twin of the supply chain as a living organism has to be a live living organism. So model suggests that it's basically a static view. And to the contrary, digital twin is in sync with the physical supply chain, connected to data sources, taking near real-time or real-time information and converting into ultimate decision making. It has to really be all about the future, having the predictive capabilities and prescriptive capabilities on the same digital twin, aligning horizontal decisions, from demand all the way to transportation on a digital twin, then connecting them to strategic and tactical decisions, all on the same platform. These are all important components of a digital twin. And I would say that the digital twin is really at the heart of any digital transformation efforts for the supply chain.
Well, Nil, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your thoughts and insights on digital transformation within the supply chain.
Well, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, Chris.
My
Take
guest
care.
today was Nil Durak, Chief Operating Officer at Solvoyo. Thank you for watching.